this morning, we want to remind everybody that if you're going to be in the downtown area, you're not going to be there for the service, please avoid that area. As I mentioned, today we're going to have full coverage of this procession as it takes place. And downtown right now is our very own Priscilla Casper, who has more from the ground there as this procession makes its way through the Tucson Convention Center.
Good morning, Sean. We are at the intersection right near Cushing and Granada. If you take a look over my right, police have that intersection blocked off. It's South Granada Avenue between West Congress Street and West Cushing Street. It'll be blocked off until 1 p.m. If you take a look over to my left, you already can see a big police presence here. The celebration of life ceremony set to start at 9:30 this morning. The public is invited to attend, but they're asking anyone who is coming to be seated by 9 this morning. Again, Deputy U.S. Chase White we're hearing right now, actually, the procession has just started. Again, big law enforcement presence here. We will bring you the latest as soon as we see the procession coming this way. Sean.
On this procession around Oracle and River. This, as you can see, there's law enforcement folks. You're going to see a lot of these vehicles that are local, but also law enforcement officers representing their different departments from all around the country have made the trip here. And for them, this is a brotherhood. This is for all officers across the country. see, but as I mentioned, we're expecting a lot of people. There will be overflow parking at the old Greyhound bus station if you're having trouble when you're down there finding a place in the downtown area. It's on the outskirts there. The Sunlink streetcar is not going to be running through that area at all, but Sunshine will provide bus service parallel to the route and is going to be dropping off passengers off near the streetcar station on either side of the closure from 7 o'clock this morning till 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, Foundation is stepping in to help this family, the family of Deputy White. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation heard about the deputy's death and decided to raise $100,000. I said this before, to help pay off the family's mortgage for White's wife and his 4 children. Now they're asking for the public's help to raise the rest of the money. Tunnel to Towers is for families of first responders, and we have a link to donate on our website at KVOA.TV. At this moment, as I'm speaking, the procession is starting a little bit early. We didn't expect it to take off today until around 9:30. It is 8:30 now, but they got a head start down there. So we are bringing you the coverage right now. Hundreds of cars that at least we could see from the live shots of this procession making its way down to the downtown area, led by, looked like somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 motorcyclists, officers on motorbikes there, leading this procession. And then, of course, there were just car after car, vehicle after vehicle of these law enforcement vehicles. Of course, TPD, and there are so many agencies right here in the Tucson area with the Pima County Sheriff's Department and other federal agencies. For the fallen deputy is making its way very slowly down Oracle here, heading into downtown. You know the area, so we're not talking a great distance here, just a couple of miles before they'll be down in that area. Reminder, as you're seeing it live here, if you're heading out today, you might want to stay clear of the area, at least right now, as this procession for the fallen officer makes its way, as they clear the lights here. But we saw that earlier, just that huge procession of motorcycle officers making their way down there. And of course, here we see some of the vehicles now that are coming up, leading this procession at Oracle and River, I believe that is right now, making their way down. Just a tragic situation. If you've been following News 4 Tucson over the past week, this has certainly dominated our newscasts and, of course, all the other media outlets here in Tucson. Chase White has been with the U.S. Marshal's office since 2015. He was with the other U.S. Marshals last week as they attempted to deliver a fugitive warrant here. But we'll just take a quick look here as this procession goes down to the area where the service is going to be held. All right, folks, we are watching a procession here for fallen officer, Deputy Marshal Chase White. And this procession is making its way now to the Tucson Community Center, where a celebration of life service is going to be held. Now, hundreds here, you can just see right here, all the cars and people here lining the roadway to pay their respects as we await the start of this. They got an early start this morning. As I mentioned earlier, these law enforcement officers have come from all over the United States representing their departments. When one of these tragedies happen, it affects all of them, and they answer in kind, and in many cases they certainly will come out to travel great distances actually to be a part of these services and show their support not only for their other officers and pay their respects, but also to the family. Chase White leaves behind a wife and 4 children, and the community outpouring has just been tremendous. A number of organizations have stepped forward to try and help out the family. As you can see, lots and lots of vehicles here making their way to the Tucson Convention Center. News 4 Tucson's Priscilla Casper is closer to where this is all happening. She's on the ground there as these cars make their way, these vehicles, these many, many law enforcement vehicles make their way to the Tucson Convention Center. Priscilla, what are you seeing there from your viewpoint?
Well, Sean, that procession is supposed to come right this way to the TCC. We are at the intersection of Granada and Cushing. Police, if you pan over to my left, police have blocked off this intersection. It will be blocked off until about 1 p.m. Sean, I can tell you we have seen an increase in law enforcement just within the past half hour. We're right by parking lot B where all the law enforcement are parking. A lot of them have already showed up. I don't know if you can see, if we can zoom in to the flags. The flags are lining the entrance to the TCC. That is where the procession will move its way through to the entrance to the celebration of life, set to start at 9:30 this morning. The public is again welcome to attend. They just ask that anyone who is going to attend to be in their seats by 9 this morning. Again, we're seeing a lot of law enforcement again coming down Granada, turning right, pulling into parking lot B. Again, should be arriving very shortly. Deputy U.S. Marshal Chase White leaves behind a wife, 4 children. He was 41 years old. We will be out here watching as the procession makes its way here to the TCC. Sean.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. And again, we're watching this procession. It is to honor U.S. Deputy Marshal Chase White, who lost his life last week in a shootout with a suspect on Tucson's west side as he and other officers attempted to deliver a fugitive warrant to a suspect there. This is a suspect that they had been dealing with for some time. They went to serve this warrant, and he opened fire. Deputy Marshal White was struck several times. He was taken to the hospital and lost his life shortly after that. The family, as I've mentioned, has been surrounded by a lot of people who are hoping to give them support at this time. It's been very difficult for them. There's many other organizations have stepped forward as we see that procession going. This is video that we captured a little earlier today and brought into our studios here. There's a helicopter hovering over the procession that's taking place following in. It is incredible to see what takes place when something as tragic as this happens, that the law enforcement community, just from everywhere, steps forward. And even that evening when the officer was at the hospital, they were there in force. And after he was pronounced dead and when they did release the body from the hospital, there was quite a procession right there of these brother officers, and I mean men and women. It is a brotherhood to them. Were there to support him and follow him to his next destination. This morning they honor him with a celebration of life. It's taking place this morning at the Tucson Convention Center. The ceremony, the service is open to the public. What they are asking, though, if you are going to go to the service, to please get there as soon as you can. They would like to have people in their places there by 9 a.m. Here's another live look. This is at Lee and Oracle Roads. That is close by here to our studios as we see the procession still making its way. This is very close, if you know this part of the city, to the Tucson Convention Center. as they make their way to the center there for the service. They're expecting a lot of people down in that area. I mentioned that there's some road closures. Please be aware of that if you are going to be in the area. Here is, as I mentioned before, again, we're going to get another look at this incredible sight of the officers taking a fallen brother for a celebration of life. There's the hearse. He's surrounded there by the officers and the rest of the procession behind. Nope. Folks, what you're seeing here is the procession for U.S. Deputy Marshal Chase White. Celebration of Life service is going to be taking place. They hope to start this by 9:30. It's going to last about 2 hours. It is open to the public. They ask if you would like to attend to please be there by 9 a.m. in your seats so that they can have this go off and have the service take place, as I mentioned, starting about 9:30 and lasting till 11:30. There's going to be a lot of people down there. It is going to be an incredible celebration. As I mentioned, a celebration of life. There's going to be a 21-gun salute by the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and then after the service takes place, and then we're expecting a flyover of 810s out of Davis-Monthan in that area, with the 8 tons of flyover taking place after that. But as I told you earlier, there's just hundreds of cars. You're just seeing them one after another. All of these individuals, you see the lights flashing, many of them law enforcement vehicles, not just from departments here in our area, but from all over the state and all over the United States. And the community has really come together to help out Chase White's family. He has a wife and 4 children that he's left behind. One organization, the Southern Arizona Martial Arts Community, has come together. They've came together with this event to raise money for the White family. Chase White spent years practicing jiu-jitsu. He was a martial artist as well of the other skills that he possessed. And his friends at the Daimyo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu said they wanted to give back. And they say that White attended classes there for 2 years. And the classes, that organization has started a GoFundMe. They've also, they're going to be holding a series of open mat nights where members of Southern Arizona's martial arts community are going to be able to come in and remember White. Many of them knew him personally, but also the public is invited as well. And this is an opportunity, if you would like to get involved to help this family, this is a great chance for you. They'd love to have cash, of course, cash donations, but also gift cards that can help the family out. And we have a link to donate on our website at KVOA.com, and also all kinds of other information there regarding the family and some of these other organizations that have stepped forward. So, you know, if you would like to help out the family, that's a great way to do it. This service is going to be taking place about 9:30 this morning. If you would like to be there, please head down there if you haven't gotten there already, you need to be there very soon because they want people in place there by 9 a.m. at the Tucson Convention Center. The service is expected to last about 2 hours from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. this morning. There's going to be a 21-gun salute by the Pima County Sheriff's Department and also a flyover by A-10s at the conclusion of this service as they honor the life of Chase White. And right now, let's check back in with Priscilla Casper, who is down at the CCC with more on what is happening there right now. Priscilla.
Hey, Sean. Yeah, we are at the intersection of Granada and Cushing. Take a look behind me. You can see the procession, just the beginning of the procession starting to make their way. You can see Tucson police starting to clear the entrance to TCC as the cars are making their way to the entrance. And a number of law enforcement are lining the entrance with flags. We see helicopters circling the sky, so you know that the procession is right about to enter the TCC. We're seeing definitely an increased number of law enforcement vehicles, a lot of them also parking in parking lot B. If you just wait a couple seconds, we see a number of Tucson Police Department motorcycles making their way. The procession is right now just entering the TCC, and they'll make their way through the flags to the entrance to the TCC. Again, the Celebration of Life ceremony set to start at 9:30 this morning, but they're asking the public, anyone who will attend, to be in their seats by 9. Again, we see a number of helicopters just circling the sky above, but as you can see, the motorcade definitely entering, making their way right now to the TCC. Sean.
Yeah, and Priscilla, I hope you can still hear me, but right after this procession of motorcycles, the hearse was right behind that area. Are there a lot of people on the street down there that have gathered?
You know, Sean, Tucson police really did a good job at making sure and blocking off this street. They want to give the family a lot of privacy, so we're not seeing any members of the public here along the sidewalk taking photos. It's just media right here in this spot. We have circled the TCC. We don't see any public taking photos. Again, you know, the public is asked to make their way into the TCC to get seated as quickly as possible. But right now, you can see they are entering through the flags to the entrance to the TCC. But no, we don't see any public lining the streets taking photos. I imagine they're all getting ready to go inside. But what you don't see right now is over to my left, turning on Cushing at Granada, a number of law enforcement vehicles. We see the Pima County Sheriff's Department, we saw Sahuarita Police Department. A number of law enforcement are turning into the parking lot to attend this celebration of life. Sean.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. And you're seeing right there, folks, that's a live shot down at the Tucson Convention Center as we prepare for this celebration of life of Deputy U.S. Marshal Chase White. Be sure and stay with us for live coverage at the conclusion of this memorial service for the 21-gun salute and also the flyover of the A-10s. And we will continue to bring you coverage as this continues to develop. Again, I mentioned that there are a number of closures down there, folks. If you want to be a part of this service, please get there as soon as possible, and we will certainly have more. Be sure and stay with News 4 Tucson as we have continuing coverage of the memorial service for Deputy U.S. Marshal Chase White coming up on News 4 Tucson at noon, of course, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. In the meantime, folks, you can get all your information on what is happening today through our social media outlets, of course, our website, KVOA.com, our Twitter accounts, and also on your mobile devices. So this is, as we mentioned, going to be going on today, this morning. Officer Chase White's body has now arrived at the convention center as this continues. And as I mentioned, we will continue coverage throughout the day. Be sure and stay with us here on News 4 Tucson.